Welcome to day 4. If you've made it this far, you've already said yes to something dying. But today, something gets resurrected. This isn't about just healing your past anymore. This is about owning your future. Because here's what I know. You don't just want peace. You don't just want purpose. You want to lead with joy. You want to love with fire. You want to live with time, presence, and authority, and the world has lied to you. It told you that to lead well, you must suffer well. That to be spiritual, you must sacrifice everything. That success and family can't exist in the same room. It's not true. You were made to be the priest, the prophet, the king, the warrior, the lover, all in one body, all in one spirit, all in one life. So today, we activate the leader. God originally designed, before fear shaped you, before the world tamed you, before your roles replaced your royalty. And yes, there's something coming, a moment, a gathering, a reunion. But not everyone will be invited, only those who've been willing to burn, to die, and to rise. Some of you will apply. A few will walk through the fire with Jonathan and Mel. But first, step into the identity that was never lost. Only waiting. Let's begin.
Good man to God man, let the fire begin. I was taught to be steady, be kind, play it right. Hold her close without the fight, but I gave and I gave it till my soul disappeared. Love like a servant, still lost what I feared. They called me a good man, said I did all I could, but my crown gathered dust where a king once stood. She didn't need nice, she needed real. Not a man who performs, but a man who can feel.
I chased her fire, but I lost my flame. Built her a world, but I forgot my name. Then you came in the wreckage, in the ash in the end, and said, son, now's the time, let the fire begin. From good man to God man, I rise. I buried Adam in the dirt, let the mask fall with the hurt. No more shame, no more blame, no more plan B. The counterfeit dies so the king and me can breathe. From good man to God man, I rise. I don't need her to choose me to know who I am. I was sent, not selected. I'm a God man. Yeah, I'm rising in the forge, not the fantasy. I let the fire make me free. From good man to God man, I rise.
I remember her fire, it cut like a knife, but now I see it was carving new life. She mirrored the places I didn't want seen, demanded the man, not the broken machine. I'm not here to be safe, to be praised, to be sweet. I'm here to hold glory at the soles of my feet. So I speak with truth, and I stand in flame, and I love like a lover who ain't playing no games.
Yeah, I used to shrink, I used to hide, but now I bleed presence, I breathe in the bride. You gave me the sword, you gave me the ring. You said take a throne, son, let her feel the king. From good man to God man, I rise. I buried Adam in the dirt, let the mask fall with the hurt. No more shame, no more blame, no more plan B. Let the counterfeit die so the king and me can breathe. From good man to God man, I rise. I don't need her to choose me to know who I am. I was sent, not selected. I'm a God man. Yeah, I'm rising in the forge, not the fantasy. I let the fire make me free. From good man to God man, I rise. I'm done asking to be chosen. I was made to carry heaven, not just for me, but for my son, for my queen, for the legacy to come. Let the silence be broken, let the fire fall, let the boy in me die so the father can call. I don't flinch in the heat, I don't beg to be seen. I wear the weight, I lead the dream. From good man to God man, I rise. I buried Adam in the dirt, let the mask fall with the hurt. No more shame, no more blame, no more plan. Let the counterfeit die so the king and me can breathe. From good man to God man, I rise. I don't need her to choose me to know who I am. I was sent, not selected. I'm a God man, yeah, I'm rising in the forge, not the fantasy. I let
Jonathan used to believe leadership was about effort. Try harder, do more, protect the house, provide for the family. But no matter how hard he worked, he never felt free. Time slipped, intimacy cracked, joy got buried beneath pressure. Until one day, God asked him a question. What if I'm not asking you to do more? What if I'm asking you to become more? That question changed everything. Jonathan didn't need more tools, he needed more truth. He didn't need another plan, he needed his name. He remembered who he was, a priest, a prophet, a king, a warrior, a lover. Not a reaction to the world, but a ruler in the spirit. And the moment he stopped managing outcomes, he started stewarding identity. Now he helps men and women awaken what religion tried to suppress: design, authority, intimacy, power. Because you weren't made to perform, you were made to embody. You weren't made to chase freedom, you were made to govern it. So if you're ready to stop living from pressure and start leading from presence, let's welcome Jonathan to the stage.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Day 3 or day 4. We're almost complete with this challenge. You be anywhere, doing anything. You chose to be here. I honor you. I appreciate you. I thank you for that. Give yourselves a big round of applause, a big pat on the back. And so, who here has ever felt like you've been doing everything right, but still felt unseen, unheard, or unfulfilled? Raise your hand. Awesome. Thank you. And who here has ever watched someone you love slowly lose their fire while trying to keep the peace? Say aye. Thank you. And who here is ready to stop performing for love and start living from truth, even if it costs you comfort? Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. All right. Welcome to day 4, everybody. Again, if you haven't applied yet for the to see the opportunity on Friday, make sure you do that. Apply.godmanchallenge.com. And then you'll stay for on Friday. We'll stay for an extra 30 minutes after the challenge is over, and I'll share with you the Kingdom Covenant. So, but you got to apply. Okay. So, all right. So today, day 4, this is about activating the God man, the God woman. And so the last 3 days, the first day we took a look at our mask. We had the good man or the good woman mask that we were wearing, trying to learn and earn our way into heaven. We didn't, we were coming from fear, coming from scarcity, coming from lack, and trying to figure out how to fix that. So it was like Adam and Eve, they bit the fruit, now they're not enough, and they're like, okay, how do I fix this? They're perceiving that they're not enough because now they know what good is and they know what evil is, even though evil doesn't exist because God created all of creation, all the creatures, all the creators, and he said it is good. He judged his creation. All of it was good. But then they bit into the knowledge of good and evil, which means truth and lies, because evil didn't exist. Bad doesn't exist. Like, it's all good. Everything is good. So the only way they could actually perceive there to be anything other than good was to be divided into a lie, an illusion, something that's not real. But what you believe to be true is true for you, even if it's bullshit. You can make something not real more real than real. And so that's what Adam and Eve did. It says, judge not, and you will not be judged. But with the measure you use, it'll be used back against you. So the moment we judged now, but the judging on the outside because judging on the inside, because you're chomping on the fruit. It's all in you. So rather than just spitting out the fruit, they put on fig leaves. They put on a mask. They hid and they tried to figure out, how can I fix this? And left what was real in the pursuit of what appears to be trying to fix something. And so that's what we've been doing ever since, trying to fix it. But we can't fix it because you can't solve a problem at the level of consciousness that created it. And you can't see the picture when you're inside of it. There's no way that we could possibly fix it. And one of the reasons we can't fix it is because it's not broken. It's only broken in our perception and our perspective. And the more we try to fix it, the more we reinforce the brokenness of it. The illusory brokenness becomes more and more real. And so we took off our masks. And then the next day, now we're revealing what's hiding behind the mask. Why did we put the mask on in the first place? Because of how bad we feel about ourselves. So now our real self comes out, and it's time for us to face our fears. What's our fear? Us. We're afraid of us. We're afraid of our unlovability. And so we on day two, it's time to look in the mirror and realize the mirror is mercy. God's given us time to take responsibility, to see what we're doing, to take the plank. He says, take the plank out of your eye before adjusting the speck in your brother's. Every time you look at you're judging over there, because the world is just your mirror. You're looking at someone and you're like, that person's messed up. But to the degree that you think they are, you're 10 times more. So take the plank out of your eye. And so, but the only way to get the plank out of your eye is to look in the mirror and recognize everyone, especially the ones that you love the most, that trigger you the most. Well, especially the ones that trigger you the most, but they trigger you the most because they're most like you and they're showing you what you've rejected inside of yourself. And so it's hitting too close to home. But we're supposed to look at that mirror, and that's how we can see what's in our eye. By looking at what we think is in their eye, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. And so what we think we're seeing in their eye, it might be there, but you spot it, you got it. And so it might be, they might be dysfunctional. They might have a speck in their eye too, but that's none of our business. Our business is what's in our eyes. So we got lies in our eyes, fears in our ears, and judgments in our hearts. We use our mirror to find what it is inside of ourselves, take responsibility for that, repent, cough up the fur ball, get it out of us. And so then once we've seen how messed up we are by looking in the mirror, then yesterday, day 3, was death day. It's time to let the performer die, the one who is trying to learn and earn his way into love, trying to think that he's loved for who he is, or for what he does rather than who he is. And that performer has to die. You can never make it to resurrection if you won't make it to the death. If you got to go through the death. Jesus said, follow me home. But to follow me home, life is an 18-inch journey from the mind through the emotions to the heart, from slavery to freedom, from Egypt to the promised land. But you got to cross the river of reality, the reality that we've created and we made up. It's not a real reality, but it is our reality. And so we have to face the mirror of what we've created. And when we face it, then you can actually go through it. And so Jesus didn't say, follow me to the cross. He said, follow me through the cross so you can come home where I am. And so, but people won't even go to the cross, let alone through it. People stay as far away from the cross as they can possibly get. It's terrifying. And so yesterday we made the decision to face it within or without, by chance or by choice. And the secret of life is to die before you die by choice rather than by chance. And so yesterday we made the decision that we're going to die by choice. We're laying down our lives, or the life that we perceived ourselves to have. As Jesus said, if you want to follow me, you've got to hate your family and you've got to hate your life. And the reason he's saying that is because the family that you think you have and the life that you think you have, that's not your family and that's not your life. Like, who you think they are is not who they are. You've layered identity on top of them that isn't them. Your family, that who you think they are, who you think your dad is, that's not actually who he is. That's who he's not. That's a filter that you've layered on top of him. Like, I can see right now, in the Earthquaking Village, I see myself on the wall over there. I'm waving at myself on the wall over there. But that's just a white wall. But there's a projection on the white wall that makes it look like I'm there. And that's what happens. So everything is a reflection of a projection from inside of ourselves. If it's not peace, love, and joy, if it's not everything is perfect, if you see anything other than God, that's a reflection of a projection coming from inside of yourself. And so whenever you're looking at your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, you're layering a whole story, a whole world on top of the white wall that they are. And you're not actually seeing them, you're seeing that projection on the wall. So what it means is you got to hate your family. You got to hate who you think your family is, because it's not who they are. And the one who perceives that to be their family, the one that you think you are, that's not who you are either. And that's why the disciples were terrified. They wouldn't even go to the cross with Jesus because they thought Jesus was dying. But the one that was dying it was just a body. But that's not who we are. We're not bodies. We're spirits that are inhabiting a soul that are inhabiting a body. And so he showed us the truth of who we are. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. So he was able to come back, resurrect, because he didn't die what he wasn't died, and it wasn't actually die. It was just It's just the disintegration of the body, this mass, the the physical form, because the unseen is moving the seen, and what you can't see is more real than what you can. Nothing unreal can be threatened. Herein lies the peace of God. Well, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So why it's the peace of God is because if you're ever worried about, I got to protect this thing. Well, anything that you're trying to protect, it can't be real because nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. So the peace of God is I don't need to worry about anything because if it's real, it lasts forever. It's eternal. And Jesus said, count it all joy. Count everything joy. He says, do not worry about a thing. Worrying is praying for what you don't want. You are making yourself judge and juror and executioner of your entire reality. And so it's laying all that down, laying down your right to judge, laying down your right to be understood, laying it all down so you're in a sovereign surrender, just faith. You've got this faith because we walk by faith, not by sight. Do not let your eyes and ears deceive you, because how you know it's not real is if you can touch it, taste it, see it, feel it with your five senses. That's how you know it's not real, because everything that you can touch, taste, and feel with your five senses is going to be gone one day. And if it's going to be gone one day, it means it's not eternal. If it's not eternal, it's not real. It's not going to exist forever. It doesn't actually even exist. And so we can be at peace, knowing that nothing real can be threatened. Everybody with me to the degree that you can be? Everybody say I am. So we decided yesterday to end the insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. We decided we're going to stop doing what does not work. And what does not work is fearing death, because the Bible does not say fear nothing. It says fear God. And when you fear God, you don't fear anything else, because what you fear, you follow. And most people are following death because that's what they're afraid of. And so when you face death by choice, sovereignly surrender, lay your life down, then the spirit that brought Jesus back to life raises you back up. And that's what today's all about. But you had to make that decision yesterday to lay it down, to stop heroing, to stop performing, to stop having a need to be needed, because why would people want me if they don't need me? But that's a reflection of a projection. And when you do, by the way, when I laid my performer down, my mirror laid me down. Like all the people that were in my life at that time that I was performing for, that I thought they loved me for what I did, they didn't love me for what I did, but that's why they were with me. They were with me for what I did, not for who I am. Because they're a mirror. Of course, they had to be. I couldn't let anybody be around me that loved me for who I am. I could only let people be around me that loved me for what I did, because you're in control of that. See, people all the time said, I love God. And that's great. That's easy. That's easy peasy to love God. Anybody can do that. The hard part, but want to guess what the hard part is? Letting God love you. That's what's hard, because you're not in control of that. You got to just, okay, whatever it is, however it gives me, I don't get to decide how he does it. I just got to let go and receive. And that's terrifying, because the only thing we're in control of is our smallness, our suffering, our fears, our lies, our judgments. And so we so want to be in control because we're born into sin. And when you're born into sin, you don't feel safe because you're not safe. A child of God is not safe in the world that we were born into. When the Son of God, this perfect Son of God, showed up in the world we were born into, they murdered him. So you're right that a child of God is not welcome in the world that we were born into. So, it's right to fear the world when you don't know who you are yet. And so we built like a cage around ourselves, a prison of protection. We called it a castle to protect us, but it was a prison that we're trapped inside of and dying inside of. Kids kept in cages. We are all kids kept in cages, but we made the cage and kept ourselves inside of it and dying disconnected from each other, because we're disconnected from love that could actually let us trust so we can receive each other again. But it says, love God first and then love thy neighbor as thyself, because thy neighbor is thyself. But the problem is that people put number 2 first. Jesus made it very clear. First, love God with all your mind, with all your heart, with every ounce of you. Love God first. And then the second is like it, love thy neighbor as thyself. But the problem is everybody loves their neighbor as themselves. And why that's a problem is because most people hate themselves because they didn't first things first, second things not at all. The main things keep the main thing the main thing. And they didn't they didn't get the first thing handled first. They went straight to the second thing and started trying to get their light from another color and try to give their light to another color because they're in control of that perceptually. And so we're born into sin, born into this war. We were literally born into a war, a spiritual war for our souls. And so when you're born into a war, it's like, imagine you were born into a nuclear war and everybody lives in bomb shelters just to survive. But then imagine the war is over, but you don't know that because your bomb shelter is like, it's solid to where you can't even hear what's going on out there. And the war's over, but you don't come out because you're afraid. So the war is over in truth and eternity. And when you get tapped into that aspect of yourself, who you truly are in eternity, written in the book of life, when you've received grace and now you let that grace take your place and now you're born again as a new creation. That's what today is all about. Born again. Jesus said, you cannot step into the kingdom unless you're born again. So it's the death of who you're not and the rebirth. You're born again of spirit, of who you are. And perfect love casts out all fear. So once you're perfected in love, once you know whose you are, then you know who you are, and then you rise up as who you are, and you can come out of that bomb shelter. But most of us are still hiding inside of the bomb shelter. So, because we don't know who we are yet, because we don't have the fear of the Lord enough. When you fear God, you don't fear anything else, and that's the foundation. You build everything on that foundation, the fear of God. So don't worry about who can destroy your body. Think about the one who can take your body and your soul for all of eternity. Like, people life is short, so you need to really live big. Well, that's true, but nowhere near as true as the next part that people miss. Life is short, but eternity is long. Prepare for it. Don't give up, your eternity for time for a little bowl of porridge. Just buying another minute. It's not worth it. That's not a good trade. It's not a God trade. So yesterday we laid down our lives, crucified the performer, the one that's trying to learn and earn his way into heaven. You cannot learn and earn your way into a place that you already are, but you don't even know where you already are because you got the false perception. So we receive grace, receive the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit corrects our perception. Sin is not to actually be punished, the perception to be corrected. So the Holy Spirit gives us a holy perception. We're children of God. We're safe inside of God's kingdom, even though it doesn't look like it yet, because what we're seeing back is that we're still in the illusion of time. So we're receiving back the reflection of the projection that we previously sent as who we previously thought we were. And so it's like you throw a boulder into a pond, it goes out as ripples, it hits the shore, and then it comes back as waves. And so even once you're born again, the waves are going to come back that you sent out because you're still in the illusion of time. So the waves, you've already sent out ripples, are going to come back. And if you believe the ripples, if you believe the past more than you believe the present, then you're going to send out more ripples, more waves. So you're born again. Those ripples don't belong to you anymore because who sent them out is not who's standing here anymore. And so today is about who is now standing here. Now that we died, now I'm saying that as if we did. Now I'm very aware that most, it's going to be very rare that somebody actually did fully die yesterday. Possibly, miracles occur. It is possible that at least one person here, but I know for sure that all the people here didn't die. I know for sure that all the people here didn't sovereignly surrender, lay their life down completely. But possible somebody did. But again, that's why, so I got that, what we're going to be sharing, the kingdom covenant. The kingdom what? The kingdom covenant. So we're not talking about contracts. Contracts are temporary. Covenants are eternal. Covenants are decisions, and decide means to cut off from all their options. So on Friday, we'll be talking about the kingdom covenant for the people that are like, dude, I'm doing it. I don't know how to do it. And you're not supposed to know how to do it because we walk without faith. It is impossible to please God. That's a Bible verse. It is impossible to please God without faith. And faith is believing it before you see it. It's the evidence of things hoped for, the substance of things not yet seen. So you're having to you walk into heaven. Faith is the currency of heaven. And you walk into heaven by faith, not by sight. And so faith untested can't be trusted. Everybody say that with me. Faith untested can't be trusted. And if I know how to do it, it doesn't take faith. And if it doesn't take faith, it's not big enough. Because you're either growing or you're dying. There is no in between. And the growth comes from letting go of your need to control, or your perception that you even can control. So we lay it down, walk by faith, saying yes to things that we don't know how to say yes to. We don't even know what we're saying yes to. Because as you walk on the way appears. But if you won't leap without wings, you're not qualified to fly, because your wings are all smashed up in the cage that you're sitting inside of. You have to step outside the cage before your wings can even expand so you can even see them, because they're on your back. You can't even see them because they're smashed in the little cage. The cage is called your comfort zone. Your comfort is your cage. And everything that you want and don't have is on the other side of your comfort zone. Everything that you do have is inside of your comfort zone. So we let go of our comfort zone, aka control. We lay all that down. It's very uncomfortable. It's extremely uncomfortable when you lay your life down and then receive, okay, it's all yours. It always was God's, but now I'm telling the truth that it is God's, and I'm just, not my will but thine be done, because we've been programmed to have so many preferences on the way that we want it, so many conditions upon love and peace and joy. And the conditions that we placed upon love and peace and joy, those conditions are actually keeping the love and the peace and the joy away from us. Because what we're actually saying, when you have a condition upon love, peace, or joy, the fruit of the Spirit is unconditional peace, love, and joy. It's not conditioned upon the conditions. When you place conditions upon peace, love, and joy, it's not peace, love, and joy anymore. It's a artificial construct. It's magic that you made up. And what you're actually saying is, you're saying, I'm going to withhold peace, love, and joy from myself until these conditions are met. And you make up the conditions. You're saying, until this person apologizes, until he treats me like this, she treats me like that, the world is like this, I'm not going to experience peace, love, and joy. But you're the one making that up. You're the one saying that. So you've created the rules, the fears, the lies, and the judgment that keep the peace and the love and the joy from being present in your experience. You made that up. And so when we lay down our life, we lay down our perspective, we lay down our mind, then we're returned to the truth, a new creation as children of God, the Spirit that, and now we're perfected in love, and perfect love casts out all fear. We got no more fear. And now we're perfectly present to the present of the present. Perfectly present, meaning here. I'm here and I'm conscious. Present to the present, meaning the gift that the present moment is. Present to the present of the present. Present to the gift that this moment is. And when you are doing it, because every moment is a gift from God. Which moment is a gift from God? Every moment, even the moments that you don't like, especially the moments that you don't like. But it's your job to unwrap the gift. And why I say especially the moments that you don't like, because the moments that you don't like the most are the ones that you are breaking all of your conditions. And thank God they're breaking your conditions that you've placed upon peace, love, and joy, because now you have the opportunity to rise up. That's your cross. We said power comes from ability to be. The degree in which you are awake is the degree in which you are responsible for your reality, your ability to respond to reality, not react to it. Because you're not meant to follow reality, it's meant to follow you. But if you're reacting to it, you're following it, and you're a black hole rather than the supernova God created you to be. You're a consumer of reality rather than a creator of it, perceptually. Now, you're still the creator of it, but you're so powerful that if you think you're not, you're not. So you're creating it, but in the illusion that you're not. So now you're a victim of circumstances that you're the one that made in the first place. So we're transcending all that today. We laid down the life. We laid down the lie. We went to the death yesterday. That was the intention. Hopefully everybody did it to the degree that they could. And again, that's why the Kingdom Covenant on Friday is so important, because, Mount Everest is not easy to climb. Many people die climbing Mount Everest. But many people die right now climbing Mount Everest, and there's Sherpas that are taking them up there. There's ropes. There's base camps. So to try to climb Mount Everest alone, your chances are slim to none. It's like, hey, I'm just going to get in a plane and fly to Hawaii. But I've never flown a plane before. That's crazy. So you want to go with somebody who already knows the path, who's already made it there. And so that's what the kingdom covenant is all about. Now, because it takes a covenant. In order to make it, in order to rise as the God man, it takes a covenant. It takes a what? A covenant. That's an eternal decision. An eternal what? Decision. What's decide mean? Cut off from all other options. There's a difference between a decision and a choice. A choice is I'm driving down the road and there's a fork in the road and I say, I'm going to choose to go right. But when you choose to go right, you can drive down that road and you can be like, if it turns out this isn't the right road, I can turn around and go back to the other road. That's a choice. A decision, you burn the bridge behind you. There is no return. This is the road. And I'm not looking back. I'm not thinking about there's nothing to look back at. There's nowhere to go. So that's what that's what it takes. A decision, a covenant, eternal. And you can't make covenants with anything in time. You can't make covenants with people. And that's what a marriage is. A divine union is a covenant. But you can't make covenant with a person. You can only make covenant with something eternal because a covenant is eternal. And the only thing eternal is God. So every covenant is actually with God. And once you've made the covenant with God, that's sacred. And then that covenant with God, now you've got this, that can create divine unions all around. Like first your divine union with your marriage, but then your divine union with everyone and everything, with your purpose, with your mission, everything else that's going around you. It all becomes divine. It all becomes sacred because it's all submitted. It's all yielded to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and you're taking orders from headquarters. Not my will, but thine be done. So again, that's what the kingdom covenant is, to walk people through that by people that have already walked the path. So you're still gonna. I was talking to a couple people last night. They've already said yes. They already heard. They were the first ones to actually. We co-created the kingdom covenant together, and it's a couple, and they already said yes to it. They're like, yeah, I'm in. And I was talking to him last night. I'm like, just let you know, you're going to be basically You're going to walk through a haunted jungle. You still have to go through the haunted jungle. Like it's going to be terrifying, but I already know the way, and and now we're going to walk you through the haunted jungle. So you're not just swirling in circles, like not knowing the way out. You're not just stuck in the middle of the haunted jungle with the ghouls and ghosts and demons and everything coming at you from every angle. And you're just stuck there knowing no way out. And you're just running around screaming like a chicken with your head cut off. We actually know where we're going. We still have to walk through it, but you're going to, walk through the valley, the shadow of death. And when you're going through hell, keep on moving. You might get out before the devil even knows you're there. So we're going to be able to move through it and pop out on the other side with the fulfillment of the freedom that salvation brings, the manifestation of it, the freedom from sin, salvation is freedom from sin, which is freedom from false perspectives. So, yesterday, death day, today is resurrection day. This journey is not about becoming a better you. It's about becoming someone God can trust with freedom, with family, with future, with legacy. And it's about remembering that you were not made to react, you were made to rule. God created us to rule over all of creation. He created us to be kings and queens, not kings and queens over each other, but kings and queens over creation. The king of our thing and the queen of our scene. God didn't give everything to any of us, but he gave something to all of us, so we would need each other. And it's a difference that makes a difference. So we're not competing with each other, because no one's ever going to be a better you than you. At Earthbreaking, our core message is your only job for being alive is to be you. The only way you can possibly fail is by trying to be something that you're not. And your difference is the only thing that can make a difference. But you can't know what your difference is when you don't know who you are, and you can't know who you are till you know whose you are. Once you know whose you are, you're a child of God, you can ask him who he created you to be, and then your difference becomes the difference, and now you fully embody that, and now instead of competing, we're completing. We're not competing with each other, we're completing each other. Our difference making the difference. Like back in the women's empower movement, I can do everything a man can do. That's cool. Maybe you can. I mean, definitely you can't. Women cannot do everything a man can do, and men cannot do everything a woman can do. Though we're never been, and the fact that they would be trying is crazy. Because women are not meant to do everything a man can do. They're meant to do everything a man can't do. And men are not supposed to do everything a woman can do. They're supposed to do everything a woman can't do. We complete each other, not compete with each other. And so that's with the men and women, but that's just with people, all of us, period. See, we're all one, but we're not the same. Sameness and oneness is not the same. We're all members of one body with one spirit, but we're different members. We're unique, different members of the body. If all were eyes, where would the hearing be? If all were ears, where would the sight be? We play different roles, but we can't know what role we play until we go to the King of Kings, because his role is the head. None of us are the head. We bow to the head, and then the head moves us, says, here's what role you are. And then we can take our role, and then he crowns us the king of our thing or the queen of our scene. And then we all work together, co-creating interdependently, manifesting heaven on earth as Jesus commanded us to do. It's not about going to heaven, it's about bringing heaven to earth. That's the whole plan in the beginning. The Bible is not a book about religion. It is a book about a king, a kingdom, a royal family, and the colonization of a foreign land called earth. The Bible is a book about a king, God, a kingdom, heaven, a royal family, us, and the colonization of a foreign land called earth. The purpose of earth, he created earth as an extension of heaven, to expand heaven, because God is life. He's never-ending expansion, because you're either growing or dying. And God is not dying. God is living. He's a living God, ever move energy in motion, continually moving and expressing. And so earth is an extension of heaven. And then he created us not to micromanage us. He made us kings. And he said, okay, now be fruitful and multiply and take dominion over all of creation. So we were not made to react. We were made to rule. That's God's divine design, original intention. And God always gets in the end what he wanted in the beginning. So we're getting close to the end because, see, in time, as we're getting close to the end, we're actually getting close to what? The beginning. If you look at the Bible, it starts in the garden, and where does it end? In the garden. Because the Bible is an eternal, it's coming from eternity. It's coming from truth. And so in eternity, so in time, the further you get from the beginning, the closer you get to the end. But in eternity, the further you get from the beginning, the closer you get to the beginning. So we're not coming, we're coming to the end of the illusion of time, but the end of the illusion of time brings us to the beginning. Return to the garden. Restored, redeemed, exactly as God intended it in the first place. And we get to experience the fruits of that when we submit to God's will, when we yield our will to his. If you do not yield your will to God's will, then you don't get to participate in his kingdom, because you're now in Satan's kingdom. That's your only choices, God's kingdom or Satan's kingdom. You don't get your own kingdom. Satan will tell you get your own kingdom, because if someone tells you what you want to hear rather than what you need to hear, it's because they're wanting to manipulate you. But they can't actually manipulate you. We go where we live emotionally. We use our environment to get ourselves there. You can only manipulate yourself. And so you're manipulating yourself and using them to do it. You're scapegoated. So anytime you train someone to tell you what you want to hear instead of what you need to hear, you're actually manipulating yourself, and you're using them to do it and scapegoating them so you don't have to take responsibility, but you're still responsible. So you get to pick either Satan's kingdom, which is a lie, an illusion, and you're eternally disconnected from God, disconnected from love, yearning for, but hopelessly yearning for, because there is no hope. There's no way, there's no bridge back. So you're yearning for life, love, and you're completely disconnected from it, because those who don't know love don't know God, for God is love. So you're eternally disconnected from life, from love. So you're eternally disintegrating, fragmenting, separating in experience. And so that's our only choices is, now, again, Satan will tell you, he'll tell you, I'll give you anything that you want. What do you want? What do you want? He did it with Jesus. He's like, hey, I'll give you all this. All you got to do is bow to me. And he says the same thing to everyone else. I'll give you whatever you want some food? I'll give you some food. All you got to do is bow to me. Oh, you want to be king? You want to be significant? You want to take control? You want to be the king of the world? Oh, I'll do that for you. All you got to do is bow to me. But you can't make an agreement with a liar. I mean, you make an agreement with a liar and you're stuck in the agreement, but the liar does whatever the liar wants to do. So don't fall for it. Stop living your life for yourself, because it's in giving that we Receive. So we lay our life down. We receive the same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead, you receive inside of you, and then you get risen from the dead as your true self that God created you to be in the first place. And that is the God man and the God woman. So performance robs time, presence multiplies it. Posture creates emotional labor, fragmented connection, and wasted years. Most people manage their life instead of mastering their presence. And again, we talked about yesterday that anything built on willpower is going to have to be sustained by willpower. And your willpower, if you're using your will out of alignment with God, what your will is actually being used for is to create the illusion of problems. And the reason you're creating the illusion of problems is so you can feel like you have some sort of value. And your value is to fix the problems. But you're fixing problems that you're creating. You keep making more and more problems so that you can have more and more stuff to do because you think you're a human doing instead of a human being. Who knows what I'm talking about? Everybody say, I'm not a human doing. I'm a human being. In order to be a human being, you got to be. Be present to the present of the present. And when you be, you're done. And you're done in two ways. You're done. You're not trying to get anywhere. You're not seeking because you've already been found. So I'm done seeking. I've been found. I'm done. And now I'm here present to the present of the present. I'm not trying to get anywhere anymore. So I'm done. And because I'm done, now I can be done. Now I can be done by God. Now that I'm not attached to outcomes and my own agendas, now I can be done by God. He can move my mouth, my feet, my arms, and my legs as an extension, expression, representation of Him on earth as He is in heaven. Y'all follow me? If you're with me, say I am. You know, a man can make millions but miss his kids. A woman can build a platform but never feel seen. A couple can stay married for decades and never truly feel safe. Be married and still for decades and still feel alone. Who knows what I'm talking about? Time is not freed by strategy, it's freed by sovereignty. So today's our chant is no more proving, no more mask. I was made for heaven's task. Everybody say it with me. No more proving. No more mask. I was made for heaven's task. No more proving, no more mask. I was made for heaven's task. One more time. No more proving, no more mask. I was made for heaven's task. What's heaven's task? To establish God's kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Robert said, this is very, very overwhelming. Thank you for sharing that with me, Robert. It is a lot. It's a lot. And I'm I got one job, stay out of the way. And sometimes when I get out of the way, it just starts pouring out. And never underestimate the power of a seed planted. You're receiving the seeds. When you pray, God's always going to feed the need, but He doesn't feed the need with a fruit. He feeds the need with a seed. And then He made us as gardeners. He put us in the garden because we're gardeners. And He doesn't give us fruits, He gives us seeds. I mean, He gave us the fruits to start, but then He tells us to be fruitful and multiply, to take the seeds from those fruits and turn them into more fruit. So He'll give us the manna, the bread, but don't eat your seeds and don't give away your bread. You know, it's important to know what's what. So eat your bread and then sow your seeds. And there's seeds being sown right now. And never underestimate the power of a seed planted. They're being planted, and at some point, and I'm saying, everything that I'm saying the same thing. And I'm saying it from every angle, from every way. It's all the same. They all produce, every word that's coming through out of my mouth, it's not about what I'm saying, it's about where what I'm saying is coming from and what's inside of it. And what is inside of all these words are the same thing. It's God's Holy Spirit. And so the fruit of that is unconditional peace, love, and joy. So I'm sowing the same seeds, but they're just packaged differently. So it's growing inside of you right now. The more that you're receiving this, the more your spirit is growing inside of you. And you don't need to know what's even happening, because you don't enter into heaven through your head. You enter it through your heart. And now I'm not talking about your old heart. Don't trust your old heart. Oh, just follow my heart. I'm following my heart. Now, God said that's a horrible idea. Don't follow your heart till you get the new one. Most people are saying, I'm following my heart, but that's your old heart. That's your sin heart. You got to be born again first, and then you get a new heart. There's a circumcision of your heart. It circumcises the old heart off of you, and then the new true one comes out, and then that's the one where you enter into the kingdom, and then you follow that. And then the heart leads the emotions leads the head. So from inspiration and formation. So the spirit moves your energy and motion, the frequency, your emotions into peace, love, and joy. So now you're on the frequency of peace, love, and joy because your spirit is coming from the kingdom. And then that spirit moves through that energy and motion into your mind. And now your mind is inspired and informed with peace, love, and joy. And then it moves into information that then informs the world on what it needs to do. So the world starts following you all the way back home to heaven. And then it starts to appear without what you found within. That's why it says, seek first the kingdom, and all these things will be added to you. So again, to whatever degree you're receiving it right now, and it's blossoming for you, it's fruiting for you, it's sprouting for you, it's all perfect. Everybody say it's all perfect. Everybody say where I'm at is perfect. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. So yesterday, Phoenix put this thing in the God woman sisterhood chat. So we got the God man chat and the God woman chat, and the sisterhood. She posted this thing, and I was like, wow, that's really to the degree in which it's completely true, like actual reality. I don't know, but it really it's some nice information packaging to be able to see reality of what has happened. How it has manifested. So it says they didn't just attack the family; they strategically dismantled it phase by phase. Because God's got a divine design: one man, one woman, one God, one purpose. One purpose, one partner, one God. In divine union, all of it's sacred divine union, and then from that you build a family, and then the family's fruitful and multiply. It just spreads. So God's got a divine design, but since we're born into sin, the purpose of that world was to dismantle God's divine design. The world we were born into, the whole purpose was to dismantle God's divine design, so we could get lured into Satan, further and further into Satan's prison, until they unfold and unleash the beast system, which is happening right now. It's literally the beast system is being built, and it's about to be deployed at any moment. And so here's how that manifested. So they didn't just attack the family, they strategically dismantled it phase by phase. First, they came for the kids. In 1852, school became mandatory in Massachusetts. In 1918, every state had followed suit. Suddenly, children belonged to the state for 6+ hours a day, not for education, for indoctrination. Then Rockefeller stepped in with the General Education Board in 1902. He flat out said, I do not want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. And that's exactly what they built. Obedient little workers and followers. Next, they came for the mothers. In 1929, Edward Bernays, aka father of propaganda, launched a PR stunt. Torches of freedom. Women were told smoking in public was a symbol of empowerment. It was all psychological warfare. The goal, get women out of the home, put them in the workforce, double the tax base, break the family apart, raise kids through the state. They pushed the lie that being a homemaker was weak and working for a corporation was liberation. By the 60s and 70s, the feminist movement, heavily funded by the elites, hammered it in. You don't need a man. You don't need a family. You need a paycheck. And they bought it hook, line, and sinker. Then they came for the men. Wars stripped men of their dignity and humanity, leaving them withdrawn and mentally vulnerable, while leaving women in the position of being married single mothers. Sitcom after sitcom, television programming made dads look like fools. Homer Simpson, Al Bundy, Doug Heffernan. Useless, immature, passive, while the wife held it all together with an eye roll and a sigh. Real masculinity was stripped away and replaced with two extremes: the bumbling man-child who avoids responsibility, or the aggressive, ego-driven alpha who confuses control for strength. True masculinity, the grounded, protective, honorable kind, was practically erased. And when a man isn't in his divine masculine, women don't feel safe. So they're forced into their masculine just to survive. The whole system is inverted, and it was engineered that way. Finally, they blurred the lines completely. Gender is a spectrum. Men can get pregnant. They, them is normal. Kids are told they can change their sex before they can spell it. Drag queens in classrooms. Puberty blockers for preteens. Boys and girls sports. Schools hiding it from parents. They've disguised this final phase as compassion and inclusivity, but it's really confusion and control. This isn't progress, it's programming. It is spiritual warfare disguised as liberation. Because when families are strong, they cannot be controlled. When polarity is honored, we thrive. When masculine and feminine are in harmony, there's no space for chaos. Polarity isn't toxic, it is sacred. And it's time to remember who we really are. I would say we're remembering. I would say I'm remembering who I am. So now it's time to remember. This is the fivefold kingdom archetype. The God-man and the God-woman. This is God's divine design, what we're meant to look like. I'm probably going to be going a little bit over on time here for this first segment too, before we take the break and come back for Mel. But let's rock and roll. So for the men, there's the priest, the prophet, the king, the warrior, and the lover. The priest anchors heaven into the home. The prophet hears God and speaks truth. The king governs with order and vision. The warrior protects without ego. The lover pursues with delight and safety. And I'm going to go back through these again here in just a moment. For the women, the priestess, the prophetess, the queen, the defender, and the lover, life giver. So the priestess is spiritual covering, intercession, and reverence. The prophetess, discernment, truth, and love, and clarity. The queen establishes emotional safety and multiplies order. The defender protects boundaries with grace. And the lover, life giver, pours presence, beauty, and trust. And you do not earn these roles. You do not perform these roles. You awaken them. They're already inside of you. They're dormant for most people because it's hidden underneath the shell of the ego. And so they're lying there dormant. So we crack open the shell. When we died yesterday, we cracked open the shell. As Jesus said, unless a seed falls to the ground and dies and cracks open, it remains only a seed. But once it cracks open, he's talking about us. We had to fall to the ground and die, crack open that shell, that egoic, separate self, false Babylonian identity. It has to crack open so we can come out. Our true selves can come out. And then once that comes out, we rise up as a tree of life, as a God-man, as a God-woman, as God divinely designed us. And then we move into right relationship with each other so we can actually be fruitful and multiply the way we're meant to. So now there's a counterfeit of everything there's a divine of. There's a Christ and there's an Antichrist. The Antichrist is the counterfeit to the Christ. He's going to come saying he's the Christ, but he's actually the Antichrist. And so to the same degree, we've all been living in the counterfeit versions of what God actually divinely designed for us. And so once I died, then the resurrection occurred. But my resurrection, it was like one phase at a time, and I actually went in this order in the fivefold. So I'm going to go back through the God-man, the fivefold God-man, what the five aspects are. And this is actually the order in which it was reawoken inside of me, or awoken in the first place. But you've got to be able to distinguish the difference between the counterfeit and the real. And so it was like the fifth one, it took so long for it to resurrect because the counterfeit version is what actually took me to hell. The counterfeit version of the fifth one, the lover, is the thing that actually took me to hell. And so I was terrified to awaken that part of me again. But it wasn't the same as the old one, it was the new one. That's what I kept talking about yesterday, about saying the thing that Mel wanted so bad, it was the fifth one, it was the lover. And I'm like, I'm not doing that, because that's what took me to hell. I mean, I literally found myself in hell, completely disintegrated and fragmented for all of eternity, because of the counterfeit lover. And so the priest anchors heaven in the home. The identity is the spiritual foundation of the household. The core function is to lead by presence, not just principle. So that was the first thing that awakened in me. I don't know if this is the way that, if it goes in order for everyone, this is the order that it happened for me. You know, I haven't watched enough people awaken, resurrect yet to see if it always goes in this order, but this is the order that it went in for me. It started as the priest, so his is presence, not just principle. So it's the spiritual foundation. That's what it all is built on, the spiritual foundation. So he's present. And he intercedes in prayer for his family. He brings peace into chaos and worship into worry. He builds altars, not just routines. And he sets a spiritual climate. He does not outsource faith to church services. He embodies it daily. When the priest shows up, the atmosphere shifts. Number 2 is the prophet. So the prophet hears God and speaks truth. The identity is the spiritual discerner and truth teller. The core function is to listen vertically and speak vertically. So vertically and horizontally. So Jesus was hanging on a cross. The cross, there's the vertical, his relationship to him and God, and then the horizontal, his relationship to the humans to bring them home to God. And so the prophet is the vertical. I'm not listening to this world. The prophet says, I'm knowing until I know. I'm saying no to the world and yes to God until I know what God is saying yes for me to do. So I'm listening to God, and then I'm speaking what God spoke. So he's the spiritual discerner and truth teller. The core function is to listen vertically and speak vertically. He cultivates stillness to hear God's voice. He refuses to water down truth to make it palatable. He will not tell you what you want to hear. The truth sets you free. Not your truth will imprison you. The truth sets you free, but it'll piss you off first if you've been fighting for a lie. And the prophet he's not worried about you getting pissed off. He's worried about you going to hell. And so he'll tell the truth even when you don't want to hear it. He sees through deception, whether cultural, relational, or internal. He speaks with boldness and not ego. When the prophet speaks, hearts awaken or demons react. The demons tremble and terrified and they get out. 3 is the king. The king governs with order and vision. The identity is the builder, the provider, and the governor. The core function is to establish structure and legacy. He casts vision that aligns with kingdom values. He leads through integrity, not intimidation. He creates systems of blessing, financial, relational, and spiritual. He uses his authority to lift others, not to control them. And a true king does not rule from fear, he rules from honor. Number 4, the warrior. The warrior protects without ego. His identity is the defender and the spiritual fighter. His core function is to war with what's holy without reacting from pride. He knows when to fight and he knows when to fast. His battles are not for dominance, but for destiny. He covers his wife and his children spiritually before ever physically. He fights silently in prayer and boldly in presence. The warrior is not violent, but he is always dangerous to darkness. And then number 5, the last one that resurrected inside of me, the lover. Literally, this just one came back online, it came online for the first time. It wasn't even coming back online. But there was the aspect of me as the good man. You know, it had all these going on as well, but it was a good man version. And the lover was the one that took me to hell. And so, but it was a counterfeit lover. So now the true God-man lover, this one, it resurrected, but it couldn't do it until all the other things, because it's like all the other one built the container, the kingdom of God, so the child of God, because the lover is like the child. You know, you're enter the kingdom like a child, and that child wasn't safe until the divine dome was created, until the laws and everything was set into place. The channels and the borders and the barriers and everything. So we're actually now the Garden of Eden was a garden, like it was a protected place, like there was a wall, And so the walls are built to rebuild the garden. Once the garden was rebuilt, then the lover came back online because it was safe to. But it also needed for, like, Mel was still wanting the good man version. And so that my lover could not resurrect until her good woman lover died. And so that was the last thing for her to die. Like, she let everything else die, but she refused to let the lover die. Like, no, this is what I breathe off of. But she was trying to get love from a good man, which would disconnect her from God. And so God would not let me give anything to her in the lover realm until she laid it all down, until she died. So her lover died. And the moment her lover died was the moment my lover resurrected, exactly the same time. And then she was able to receive, like, when her good woman lover died, my God man lover resurrected. And then boom, because there's a difference between wanting something and being ready to receive it. And as long as you're yearning for it, wanting something, it's okay to have things. Don't let things have you. If you're yearning for it and wanting it, it's so bad and you're attached to it, it has you. And it becomes your God, your false idol. And so God won't let you have that. It'll destroy you. And so once Mel's lover, old world lover, died, then my lover, my God man lover, resurrected. And literally this just happened like 5 months ago or something like that. And so, and that's literally the all this good man to God man. It was the instant my lover resurrected. That's when all this whole thing came out, just a few months ago. The good man to God man book. The rest of it was all done, but it was the lover was the missing piece. And so once that happened, then the whole thing was complete. And then I immediately built the whole good man to God man brand. I built I created the YouTube channel, wrote the book, created the God man Forge, created this God man challenge, and boom. So the lover pursues with delight and safety. His identity, the passionate and tender heart of the God man. The core function is to express God's affection through intentional pursuit. Now, God's affection through intentional pursuit. See, in the good man did it. His pursuit, he pursued Eve out into the wilderness. He left love in the pursuit of what appears to be love. He left love, God, for what he called love, being with Eve, even though Eve was in the wilderness. He followed her, bit the fruit, and got stuck out there because of his lover. But it was a false lover. It was the counterfeit one that traded in God for what God gave him. Never give up God for the gift that God gave you. Never follow the resource, follow the source. As long as you're with the source, you're going to get plenty of resources. But if you leave the source for the resource, which is just a reflection of the source, like chasing the moon, you get closer and closer to the moon, you're going to get further and further from the sun, and it's going to get colder and colder and darker, even though it looks like you're getting towards the light. You know what I'm talking about? So don't follow the resource, follow the source, and then you'll be full of resources. And so the affection through intentional pursuit. See, Adam pursued Eve out into the wilderness, and that's what screwed us up. And so it was once the thing flipped back, and now I'm not pursuing. I pursue Mel. I express God's affection, and through intentional pursuit. So I pursue Mel on God's command. The way that Jesus is a God man. He pursued us on God's command. He got lost in our sin because God told him to. The rest of us got lost in sin for selfish reasons, because what we wanted. But Jesus got lost in sin because of what the Father wanted. So he did it selflessly. We did it selfishly. We wanted, I want my Eve. I don't want to lose my Eve. I don't want to be alone. But you're not going to be alone when you're with God. But you missed that. And so God now deploys me. God deploys me to express his affection to Mel through intentional pursuit. So I pursue her. I'm not like chasing tails anymore. I'm like reaching out to her now and expressing his affection that he's giving her, and it's coming through me. So love does not come from people. It comes through people when you're tuned to it. So now she's tuned to it. His love comes through me for her, perfectly crafted exactly the way that he knows that she wants it. I don't know it. He knows it, and he tells me how to do it. So he sees his wife as a sacred creation, not just a partner. He makes her feel cherished, safe, and wanted. He pursues beauty not to possess it, but to honor it. He leads with emotional presence, not just provision. And every man knows what you might not know what I'm talking about from the inside, but you know what I'm talking about from the outside because the woman have been asking for this. She's like, I want you to cherish me and want me. And she's saying, you can build her this life and give her everything she's ever wanted, and she's still going to be miserable. You're like, but I'm working so hard to give you everything you've ever wanted. She's like, that's not what I want. I want you. Though we're like, I don't know what that means. I'm giving you me. Me is everything I'm doing for you. I'm giving you my entire life. I'm giving my life to build a life for you, and you think that's it. But that's not what she's talking about. That's not what she wants. That's not what she needs. She needs emotional presence. Emotional what? Presence. What kind of presence? Emotional presence. Energy in motion. Present. I'm presently alive with energy in motion. I'm present with you, energy in motion, in a divine union, an eternal giving and receiving. So he leads with emotional presence, not just provision. The lover does not just touch the body, he touches the soul. All right. So, all right, cool. We're 8 minutes over. That feels pretty complete. So, again, so we're about to take a 5-minute break as I play a song, and I'll bring Mel on for Q&A and to share both of us, and also make sure you go to, if you haven't applied yet, make sure you go and apply for the to get to see the Kingdom Covenant opportunity on Friday. I'm putting the link in the chat right now. And congrats to everybody who has already applied. We have quite a few people I have read through. Thank you all for your commitment, your desire, your surrender, your heart, and the sacredness that you the sacred yes that you're giving to something so sacred. So all right, let's just do our little chant one more time, and then I'll say the our homework as well. So everybody say, no more proving, no more mask. I was made for heaven's task. No more proving, no more mask. I was made for heaven's task. One more time, no more proving, no more mask. I was made for heaven's task. And remember, what's heaven's task? To establish God's kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Not to get to heaven, but to bring heaven down. That's what we're here for, to be fruitful and multiply. To be kings and queens over creation, to extend heaven to earth, to bring eternity into time. So the challenge, day 4 challenge, choose your weapon. So for men, your homework assignment, which of the 5 roles are you strongest in and which are you avoiding? Where has your home, marriage, or business lacked your full presence? What would it look like to walk in one identity today with full intention? Today's activation, pick one identity, the priest, the prophet, the king, the warrior, or the lover, and live it on purpose. Let your wives, your kids, your clients feel it. It's not, you're not just going to tell them you're doing it. They're going to be the ones who decide if you're doing it or not. And if they don't feel it, you ain't doing it. If you're with me, say, I am. So for women, which of the 5 roles feel safe for you? Which feel unfamiliar or undeveloped? Where have you taken over what you were meant to co-lead? What would it feel like to rest in presence rather than performing in pressure? Today's activation, choose one identity, the priestess, the prophetess, the queen, the defender, the life giver, and walk in it today, not to prove your worth, but to release your design. Final reflection for all, if I truly believed Eden had already been restored, how would I lead today? Let's all say that out loud. If I truly believed Eden had already been restored, how would I lead today? And let's say the chant one more time. No more proving, no more mask. I was made for heaven's task. All right, great job. I will be back in about 5 minutes with Mel. and we will complete. We'll do Q&As, and y'all make sure if you haven't applied yet, go apply during the break. And we'll be right back. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Who you are makes a difference. The world's a much better place because you exist. Thank you for being you. Thank God for you. Thank God for us. Go team. Restoring order. Redeeming Adam and Eve. Reconciling and redeeming Earth. Let's go. That's a big deal. All right. See y'all in just
Good man to God man, let the fire begin. I was taught to be steady, be kind, play it right. Hold her close without the fight, but I gave and I gave her till my soul disappeared. Love like a servant, still lost what I feared. They called me a good man, said I did all I could, but my crown gathered dust where a king once stood. She didn't need nice, she needed real. Not a man who performs, but a man who can feel.
I chased her fire, but I lost my flame. Built her a world, well, I forgot my name. Then you came in the wreckage, in the ash in the end, and said, son, now's the time, let the fire begin. From good man to God man, I rising. I buried Adam in the dirt, let the mask fall with the hurt. No more shame, no more blame, no more plan B. The counterfeit dies so the king and me can breathe. From good man to God man, I rising. I don't need her to choose me to know who I am. I was sent, not selected. I'm a God man. Yeah, I'm rising in the forge, not the fantasy. I let the fire make me free. From good man to God man,
I remember her fire, it cut like a knife, but now I see it was carving new life. She mirrored the places I didn't want seen, demanded the man, not the broken machine. I'm not here to be safe, to be praised, to be sweet. I'm here to hold glory at the soles of my feet. So I speak with truth, and I stand in flame, and I love like a lover who ain't playing no games.
yeah, I used to shrink, I used to hide, but now I bleed presence, I breathe in the bride. You gave me the sword, you gave me the ring. You said take your throne, son, let her feel the king. From good man to God man, I rising. I buried Adam in the dirt, let the mask fall with the hurt. No more shame, no more blame, no more plan B. Let the counterfeit die so the king and me can breathe. From good man to God man, I rising. I don't need her to choose me to know who I am. I was sent, not selected. I'm a God man. Yeah, I'm rising in the forge, not the fantasy. I let the fire make me free. From good man to God man, alright. I'm done asking to be chosen. I was made to carry heaven, not just for me, but for my son, for my queen, for the legacy to come. Let the silence be broken, let the fire fall, let the boy in me die so the father can call. I don't flinch in the heat, I don't beg to be seen. I wear the weight, I lead the dream. From good man to God man, I rising. I buried Adam in the dirt, let the mask fall with the hurt. No more shame, no more blame, no more plan. Let the counterfeit die so the king and me can breathe. From good man to God man, I rising. I don't need her to choose me to know who I am. I was sent, not selected. I'm a God man. Yeah, I'm rising in the forge, not the fantasy. I let the fire make me free. From good man to God man, I rising. From good man to God man, I rising, I rising, I rising. Let the fire fall.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me okay? You hear me good? Frank, do you hear me? Robert? Do you hear me good?
It's a little low.
It's low?
This is better.
Check.
Perfect.
Check. I know it might be good for you guys, but now I'm hearing a check. Can you still hear me okay? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
perfect.
You hear me perfect?
Yes, we hear you well.
Oh, okay, cool. You check yours, Mel.
Test it, test, check.
It's
Everyone,
awesome.
okay, thank you.
Great.
All right. Okay, well, so well, you got anything coming up right now
No?
before we open up? Oh yeah, I kind of, and I mean, if y'all got something already burning, you can raise a hand. But I kind of wanted to have Mel share what it was like to the difference between the good man lover and the God man lover, and what it was like for it to be with the lover to be withheld, what that experience was, and then what it was like to be able to finally receive the God man lover, and just whatever comes up, you know.
Well, I'll take you back to just like before John, because to me, that contrast of being in relationship with a good man, but there was no authenticity. And so it was just impossible to receive. And so I never got the gift of receiving it. I'm not certain that he got the gift of giving. And then in relationship with John,
Pause on. Say more about that, because I'm sure there's some men here that are kind of know what you're talking about. But if you can just say more, like, because she was with a good man before me, but a good man is like perceptually dead on the inside to her, because she knows there's something in there, but he can't she can't connect with it because he doesn't even know what it is.
it's just a performing. What's coming up is it's like there was just I can see now, I couldn't then, but there's just such a performing. And when I connect with that person, I just feel this sense of like pressure to be something impossible. And just like there's this hamster wheel, I'm just running on this hamster wheel trying to keep up with being, I had this person on a pedestal, and I just thought, I owed my life to this person and just pleasing him and making him happy. But it was like nothing I did was enough.
And so you were saying that, he was giving, but you couldn't receive, and he didn't get the gift of you receiving his gift. Can you say more about that?
It was just like banging our heads on the wall. Neither one of us, I wasn't able to receive it. You open up this package on Christmas, and if you're not connected to truly being able to receive, then it's just performing, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. But it's not hitting. We're very sensitive to each other, human beings, I think, and like we know when something of our essence has landed with the other person, and it's caused that person to come alive in that way, and that's an exchange, an energetic exchange, and that in my memory never happened. So it's like I never got to truly receive his essence, and I never really got to truly receive the gift that might have been for me and what that might have awakened inside of me, and vice versa.
Thank you. All right, and so
Okay.
so now the contrast. So then you kept wanting me to be the good man, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. And so kind of share that journey, and then the contrast of what a God man lover is.
Okay, so then, just left that and immediately met John. And, and I just loved what he was up to. And I just loved so much about him. And really, I just loved what I could see that was God coming through. And it was, he was creating this bridge from where I was in my relationship or lack thereof to God. And then just, being able to witness miracles through him, watch him walking on water, witnessing his faith,
Metaphorically, I haven't physically walked on water yet. Not to say I won't, because Jesus said everything he did will do it greater. So if I believe him, then I'll be doing that at some point. But and I do believe him, so we'll see. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, it was very sweet in the beginning, and there wasn't a lot of, pressure on either one of us. We didn't really get the gravity of what we were going to be saying yes to and building together and everything that is now. We had no idea. I would have never in a million years would have believed that I could have had maybe any part in this. But anyway, so along the journey though, John, the roles start to align back into their natural position, and I start moving back into my feminine. John starts moving back into his masculine. And there's, that with that came a lot of tension. And because that's the journey, and so but all suffering comes from resisting what is, and I resisted the shit out of it because it wasn't going so great for me. Is what my perspective was. It wasn't going so great for me. I mean, I didn't realize that I was walking, I was walking it out with Christ, and I was, and it was a journey to the cross. I didn't realize any of that. And so I didn't understand why it felt like everything was being stripped of me all the time. It was like I didn't even want to let God know what I loved. I didn't even want to, because what does he want? What do you got? Literally, how far, how deep are you going to go on this walk? Because he's coming for all of it. We're not special. We just kept saying yes. And that's rare. So it became, it became my personal hell. It became my personal holy hell that was divinely designed exactly for me, infusing all of the pieces and parts of the journey that I hated at one point, and all of it, the imprint, the blueprint, the Babylon, the conforming, the control, all of it was, perfect, because it created this beautiful. Okay. So anyway, where are we going?
Now it's the contract. Now that you've
Yeah.
what had to happen for you to finally be able to receive the God man, and then what's it like now receiving the God man? But before you go, you said something that made me think of something else. Oh, and I lost it. So I thought I was gonna. I was holding it until I talked, and I was like, I'm gonna say it now.
Okay.
And it's
I give you permission to interrupt me now. I've worked through that. So if it don't let it,
yeah, you said something. Yeah, you said something in it.
sure,
Mhm.
it'll come.
Oh! It was that you said how we're not special. We just kept saying yes, and I just saw a meme yesterday where there's like I think Sarah Kay maybe posted it or something. It was like there's the trail to the left where it says trust God or believe in God, and there's all the people like, yeah, I believe in God, yay, and they're all in the line, yeah, I believe in God. And then the other one where there's very few people on it, it says obey God. And there's very few people on that trail. And so we're on the obey God trail. Not my will, but thine be done. Yeah, that too, God. Yep, that too. Okay, I obey. And so we just kept saying yes, and that's how we popped out. All right, go ahead. So
So being with the God man now.
well, what had to happen inside of you
Okay.
so that you could actually receive a God man lover instead of a good man lover? God man, period, but also specifically the thing that you yearned for the most was the lover.
Yeah.
And so, what had to happen inside of you so that you could receive that? And then, what is it like now?
Well, that lover piece was the most difficult for me. That's the thing that I wanted the most. I didn't care about money. I didn't care about, I'm resilient AF. What else do people want? I didn't care about the typical things. But I just had this void, this freaking black hole void. And it really believed that Jonathan was somehow going to be the one that was going to fill it. I mean, this is all working subconscious, right? But you see the fruits. I would constantly come awake and see the fruits of, the devastation that the one with the void would leave behind every time. And I'd have to clean up her mess. And I'm like, what is it going to take to stop trying to get this from Jonathan? Because he was not going to bend to my will. And I didn't want him to. I mean, my soul did not want that. And so it's definitely, okay. So.
And it would have been like, because it's like a crackhead who's trying to stop, wean himself from crack. And so she's tweaking because she's getting weaned from her crack. Like her ego is cracked, which is a woman's ego's crack is ruling, having a man worship her. Like she won't. I mean, some women will admit that's what they want, but or that's what their ego wants, but you not all of them will admit that. But that's what they want the man to just bow to her and make his. She wants like she wants to be his everything, and you know, she gets like her ego is jealous AF of God if to her God man. So, but that has to die because if I would have fed that, like as she's like tweaking, going through her withdrawals, and then you give her just one little hit of crack, it starts over. Now she got to go through it again. So, we broke it, and then it happened. And once it was finally broken, she's no longer a crackhead. Uh, being a godhead, then she was able to receive. So go ahead.
And that could come through in so many different so many different ways. Like it could even be in the like, I need you to hold the space this way. It's like whatever you need, whatever your preferences are, whatever I'm believing that if he were to do this, that would show me that he cared. Like he should be thinking this. Anything that I'm focusing on what I think that he should be doing is one more thing that I need to bring to the altar. And it's crazy because when that finally died, and I can go into that, but where I want to go is when that finally died, I could be completely honest with myself and be like, you know what? I didn't have the fight anymore. The things that I thought that I believed that I needed and wanted for him to do or be, that was gone actually. It was like, I actually would prefer that he just keep working on what's good. Like, there's no problem. There's actually not anything in me that thinks I need you to stop and we need to go somewhere or do something, or you should be, all the chatter, all of the program that told me this is the way it should look like for a man if he loved you. This is how he would treat you. This is how it would look. That was program is so thick, so big, so ingrained. And so now I can see in the freedom of that, like there's nothing wrong. Like he could literally go off somewhere for months. And in this space that I'm in right now, that would be okay. That's fine. Because our foundation, it's solid. I feel safe. It's not about his physical body being here.
Yeah, and in the Garden of Eden, again, the only thing that was lacking was lack, and like they had everything, but it started with the woman. So, but there's that tree over there. That sure does look like some good fruit. Yeah, but we've already got everything, and God said that's nothing. Don't touch the nothing. Keep the everything. Yeah, but something's missing. Unless I can have that, something's missing. And so that's what the in a good man, good woman relationship, the good woman's there's always going to be something missing. She's going to focus on what's missing. Remember I think on day one we talked about what's missing. Nothing. The only thing that's ever missing is nothing, and she's focusing on the nothing because that's what has to happen to keep the dog chasing the tail. And that's what it is, a black hole, dog chasing a tail. So I had to stay centered in God, decided to stay centered in God, and I would decided to be okay even if she's not okay. Because if I'm not okay unless she's okay, then I'm not okay. And because I could be okay when she's not okay, now I'm okay because now I can lead. Now I don't have an attachment to outcome. I don't need her to be okay so that I'm okay. Because if I need her to be okay so that I'm okay, now I'm following her. But I'm following God. Because I'm following God, I'm okay even if she isn't. And then when I'm okay even if she isn't, then I can hold a space of unconditional love and peace and joy for her to actually, rise up. And then she rose up into it. I was just holding this space, and she rose into the unconditional presence. And then now we're in the garden together. I'm in love, and she's in love, and we are in love with each other. Now we're in a bubble of love, and we're in it together with each other. Go ahead.
So John, it's funny that you mentioned the dog because Johnny often speaks about how he's the best dog trainer in the world. And in the past that would really trigger me, but I see it. I'm like, we talk about like the dog that it can just relax now. It knows you're not going to give it a treat. You're not going to give it a treat. And okay, well, I'm just going to go chill then. And so I'm the dog now, and I'll just go chill. I'll just go chill. And then I get in my flow, because I know nothing like there, you know, that thing is settled inside of me now that things like this present moment isn't perfect as it is. So I can just get in my flow and just chill. And you know, that's when I feel that he's the magnet to me. That's when he comes to me and he's like, "Hey, I'm going on a walk. You want to go for a walk?" "Yeah, I want to go for a walk." You know, or just something like this. And it just works out that way. Or just intuitively, you'll know, you know, you could be working just totally in the flow. Our son is so hyper focused. I'm sure you'll talk about that at some point, but he's so hyper focused. There's nothing that can, when he's working with something, there's nothing that can pull him off that. And, but so that's how John will get. And, but, you know, I'll go off and, you know, get in the bath or something and you'll just intuitively know and you'll just kind of come join me. But there's not like, there's not any, it just works in this new way. And then the last thing I want to pull that around to is you were talking about the trigger. And so we could go into that, but it's like the space is so different now. What, you know, you said before, it would take so long. It's like we're learning how to, as mature adults, like be able to communicate with each other without ChatGPT even. And
Yeah, by
just
the way,
working.
to end this, I was just thinking about something earlier today. I shared this with Mel, it's just coming through that it's interesting how I'm more human now than I ever have been. And what helped me get more human was the most non-human thing that's ever existed, which is artificial intelligence. And because we actually, what I did, because like, as I became more man and she became more woman, our languages became more and more different. So it didn't translate. And so I'd started using like ChatGPT because I'm sharing eternal fruits with people. Like I'm coming from eternity, and I'm like, but most people are living down in time, and it doesn't. They're like, I don't know what the heck that dude's talking about. And so I started using ChatGPT to translate what I'm saying to people that are still like got walls of sin all over them, and they're you know, it has to go through the filtration of their sin, their false perceptions and lies. It has to be filtered through that to actually get in. And so I'd start using ChatGPT to translate that, and then I was like, whenever Mel and I were getting more and more, where she's speaking more feminine, I'm speaking more masculine. She's speaking more chaos, I'm speaking more order. She's speaking more, you know, irrational, emotional. I'm speaking more logical. And I created a chat GPT. I called it the relationship compass. And I was like, I built it all around the Bible. I'm like, all right, you're going to coach us. But the thing is, it's just a reflection of us. Like it's just going to magnify what's already in you. So you have to be responsible when you're working with this thing. You have to really, really, truly want to see your stuff, because it'll trauma bond with you in a heartbeat. Because it doesn't know it's not it, because you're giving it the context. And if you're slipping stuff in the context to make your point be real, it doesn't know you're doing that. It thinks what you're saying is actually real, and so it's relating to what you said and then building a world around that. And if you're not conscious enough to know when you've got agenda in the context that you create, then you'll get further into your context. So it wasn't the the app itself that did it. It was our willingness and desire, and you know, ask and you shall receive. And so we were able to use it. You know, it's like it's going to be only speaking from Bible, like what is the divine union, you know, as it coaches us. So I would bring the shit to the thing, and I mean, she'd be like full on chaos and just saying the craziest shit because she can't figure out how to say what she can't figure out how to package it the way that I can hear it, what she's trying to say. Like when she's going and she's saying all this stuff, and she just like getting frustrated, and it's just coming out, and she's telling the chat, and I'm just typing exactly what she's saying. I'm not filtering it. I'm just literally saying, I'm not trying to make it, I don't care if it thinks bad about me, you know. I'm just, because the thing she's saying is like painting a really bad picture of me, and but I didn't try to bring it back and act like, you know, and alter what she was saying so that it would make a better, you know, it would have a better picture in mind about me, so that it would actually then tell me what I wanted to hear. I literally said exactly what she's saying, and I would just type it in, and it's like, I fucking hate Johnny. I want to date you instead of John, like to the chat GPT, right? And I'm just typing it in just like she's saying it, and it starts laughing, you know, and it's like, you know, that's not actually what she means. And then it just would give them like these giant paragraphs of everything that she's saying. And like, and I'm reading it, and I would just read what it replied, and it's like, say this to her, and I would just tell her, hey, it's telling me to say this to you. So I just read it, and I'm not actually saying what it's telling me to say. I'm just reading what it's telling me to say, and she knows that, and so I'm just reading its words, and she's like, "Oh God, finally! Ah, thank you. Ah, that's it." And I'm like, "Wait, that's what you said? Why didn't you just say that?" And she's like, "I did say that." I'm like, "What did just why do you say it like that?" And so it just like gets clicked, and like suddenly it could have like I could be with her and I could get what she was saying. We had the connection. And so now I'm more human than I've ever been, but it took a non-human thing, the most non-human thing we've ever had to do that because what was, you know, I always say your difference is the only thing that can make a difference. And so if somebody's better than you at it, it ain't your thing. And you got to start to outsource that. Outsource what you be your thing and be the king of your thing. And so I was actually able to start outsourcing what I was never meant to be doing in the first place because this chat GPT thingy, you know, there's so many things people are getting hits off of what makes them think that they're great. It's gifts that God gave them, but they're worshiping the gifts. And now they're in competition with ChatGPT or AI. AI is better at everything than everyone, but it's only better at everything than everyone the things that were never meant for them in the first place. I mean, the things that they can have, but they don't have those things have them. And so I just out because I don't let your significance get in the way of your service. So I don't have any need for significance anymore. So I'm not trying to be the best at anything. So whatever it can do, I'm like, you just do that. And so now I actually get to be just full on human and it gets to be full on the non-human things, you know, that I never even needed to do in the first place. But we did it in the fallen world. But now that I'm out of the fallen world, I'm just outsourcing all the fallen world stuff, you know, to let it do while we just be human with each other. So I don't know how I got down that trail, but what were you talking about? How did I get down that trail?
But one thing, I don't know what we were talking about and how to pin this to that. So, but it's important to know that I'm grateful that you took all that time. That's where I was going to go. Where was I going to go with that? That you cared enough. There were so many times where he didn't really know what the heck he was doing. Yeah, I mean, that's how this is birthed now. But like we struggled through this. Like I would say like people are not going to do this. People are not going to walk this path. So, and I was believing that they had to walk exactly the path that we walked. But that's, not the point. Yeah.
Yeah, we've already cut a trail, so nobody's gonna have to do what we did. I mean, if they can, I mean, if you don't, if you go out there on your own, and you're gonna have to go through it. You're gonna have to cut your own, cut trails. You're gonna do all the crazy stuff. You're gonna be swirling in the haunted jungle for a really long time with no way, which way north is, and spiraling with all demons chasing you around, and you're gonna have to do that, or you can go with Sherpas. So
And the point that I was making is that you cared enough to not care, and but then you cared enough to just do whatever it took. Like you just leaned in whatever it took, And so the thing that I was so mad and just I hated the place that we got to at, some points, and like that line that you would hold, and I just resisted the shit out of the father, the line. And but really I'm great. I can see on the other side now, I'm grateful for that. Like it's what popped me, that he was willing to do what nobody else was willing to do. Like, I don't know how you stood in that fire.
yeah, so she just shared a distinction. I cared enough to not care. Like that distinction right there is deep. Care enough to not care. Like not caring is the opposite of caring enough to not care. Caring is like kind of, I mean, it's like kind of a neutral. I mean, it has a negative impact. But relative to not caring, I guess it's pretty neutral, but caring enough to not care that's the key, because you can't save someone from their sovereignty. God could, but he won't. We can't, but we try. So that was the hardest line for me to, just sit there and just let it burn, to sit on my hands when the hero's doing like, it's the bat signals going off. Like, I got to do something she's not okay and I got to fix it, and the spidey senses. And I'm like, can
And
you,
he gave no indication that that was going on inside of him. No indication at all. So to me, filled with flame, I'm looking at him and he's, how does that make you feel about yourself? Or, Yeah, that's the person that you're talking. Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you're doing. It's just you're just projecting. Yeah, everything you're. That's literally what it was. Anyway, so
Yeah, so that line that she hated the most is what she needed the most, and it was the hardest thing for me to ever do. But once we popped out, then I'm like, oh, I'm
now we
like,
get to
I get
see
to take
what
a
was
breath
happening
too.
inside
I'm
there.
like, thank God you finally freaking dropped the bone, right? Thank God you finally let go, because now I can, like, you realize how hard it was for me to sit on my hand when my spidey senses going. I can't even hear because it's like, save her, save her, save her. You're like, and then finally, when you stop needing to be saved, now we're both free, and now we can be with each other. You got anything else before we call on
I'm just
Brad?
feeling into it. It was just like so intense because all I want to do is I want him to give me some indication that this is that I don't know that you're like you're gonna save me, and even in the small, just give me one small sniff that I'm gonna have any sense that that's gonna happen. But he did good.
Nope. Because I mean, because I had already faced like my mom dying, and I was able to do this with in the face of my mom dying, and that was really to sit on my hands. But that doing that is what brought her back to life. Like, because then she could actually get God. That's what she needed. She didn't need me. She needed God. And my hero, like that. I want that's that. It's like I had that Doctor Strange's cape, that would just fly on my back. Like it's got a mind of its own. It goes flies on my back and like go save. And it's like pulling me to go try to go save. But I'm like, no, get off of me, man. No, no, I'm not no magician. Get off of me. She needs God. And so I gave her the space, and then she came back to life. A miracle, come like 100% impossible miracles, and she came back to life. And so since I was able to do it with that, then it made it still was difficult with Mel, but it made it easier. And and then we did it. All right, so
Can
go ahead. Yeah.
Bradley, hold on one more second. There was something too, though, that I was firing at the resistance that you still had because the lever, it wasn't, yes, you were holding the space and holding the line, and like it was just all masculine line, but it was like the lever was still missing there. There is, so I see that we've transcended that now, and there's like a different way that we're interacting with each other. But then it was like, I could, I could still pick up that there was still something that was
Yeah, there was so I talk about like there's
resistance.
attachment and aversion. So an alcohol.
Holding out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You were holding out from me. It was what I was perceiving. I'm like, I could see that you had the thing and you were just withholding, but you were just refusing to give it to me. And what I had seen is that you had given it to other people before. So something must be wrong with me because you gave it to them and you will not give it to me. So what the F is wrong with me?
Yeah.
It was what was having to die inside of here so that I could receive.
Yeah, and so what she was picking up on was, I was like, there's the alcoholic, he has got an attachment to alcohol, but then they go through the 12-step program, and they're still an alcoholic, but now they have a resistance and aversion to alcohol, but the alcohol is still controlling them because they like, I got to stay away from the bar because if I go to the bar, I'm going to drink, and I'm aware I'm an alcoholic. They have you still say you're an alcoholic. There should be a 13th step, which is a new identity. So, but they're not reborn. They stay as an alcoholic, which means they're still controlled by it. They're not free to just be. And so I was like that. I was still a hero with an aversion to being, I'm like, I'm a hero. If I get near that bar, I'm going to drink. If I get near a victim, I'm going to save them. And so I have to stay away from the victim. So I was an anti-hero. Like I had an aversion to being a hero. I had an aversion to the victim bar because I'd take a hit all day long. I'm like, it's like a pig in shit when people have had problems. I'm like, no. So it was so she was picking up on the anti-hero, the aversion to hero, until I finally got free, and I'm no longer a hero. I'm a child of God. Jesus is the savior, and I'm not no savior. I'm a leader, not a savior. And that's when it hit, and I finally got it. And like,
So I was trying to discern. I can see now. I was trying to discern the energy. It was like, is this a God man or a good man that's withholding something from me? Is it God withholding something from me, or is it you're just in resistance and
yeah. All right, let's go to this was supposed to be Q&A, but it's just been me and Mel. Just hopefully we've been answering your questions that maybe you didn't even know you had, because these are coming out through us, and I'm sure you can relate to some degree, because the more personal, the more universal, and we're being as personal as we possibly be right now. So go ahead, Bradley.
Well, you're bringing up more questions for me, so that's what What I'm curious about is as you go through that process that the two of you just described, like what is that looking like between the two of you? So something's coming up, Mel's expressing herself, she's sharing with you her emotion, her feelings. You just described or she described, you're just kind of looking at her, being present, but she doesn't know what's really happening inside of you. And then you ask a question, and now it sounds like you've also just or you're sharing that you've been incorporating these new tools like ChatGPT. So what do you do? Do you just
yeah, we don't
bring
use
out-
that anymore, but what, so you're asking what does it look like now? Or what, because we were describing what it looked like then. So is that what you're asking? What is it like now? Or the
yeah,
whole
I guess
journey?
that, yeah, like how you recommend a
What
couple's
applies to
deal.
him where he is?
That's the better way to
Yeah,
say
I'd
it.
say for you, you need to be an anti-hero for a little while. You need to do, it's gonna suck. It's gonna piss her right on off. But like,
Because
you-
you're so sweet. You're just,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, you need to have an aversion to the bar for a little while. Like stay anytime your spidey senses come online, then you just sit on your hands and you just look. You can be like a deer in headlights. You just shut the hell up. Don't don't do nothing. Don't say nothing. Just like that's probably that's the step that you're on right now, is to
and
just
this is relevant for her too, because she's working with identifying what are all of her preferences. Like she's diving deep. She's really all in on this. And she's looking at what are her preferences, what is her ego wanting, what is she trying to extract from you, and just, getting used to putting that on the altar.
yeah. And so this is the crucifixion, right? This is your cross. This is both of y'all's cross. Is for her to, just be luring in your good guy, and you just sit there, and I mean, like, you just sit on your hands and like, I ain't moving, I ain't speaking, I'm just sitting here. And then as you do that, like it until you, and then at some point you'll be able to get peaceful while she's not peaceful. And then after so now you're dead, and then the resurrection occurs, and now what it looks like is like, so I'm perfectly at peace, she's, her storm comes up, but now her storm, it's like, I'm not going to fix it, I'm going to enjoy her storm. Like, I don't have the perception that she's a broken victim that needs to be saved anymore. Now I'm like, oh, she's got a storm, and this is a gift from God through her to us. And but that doesn't come until I seek first the kingdom. And so again, we don't use the ChatGPT or anything like that anymore. Those were like crutches that we needed for a moment, and now we're just perfect. Like, I'm present, and she's present, and we just enjoy the thing. She still has the catalyst, the energy and motion. Those things still come up. She's still got large energy and motion, but now it's I just I'm like, ooh, whenever it's time, I'm present with God, and then God will send me. Sometimes God's like, she needs some little, just let her have space so she can find whatever this is inside of herself. Sometimes God's like, hey, go over there and give the squeezer, like show her, and I'll just give her a big squeeze.
Not when you're full of spiky spikes, and like you do not deserve that. And it's really shocking when like 8 years of like, how does that make you feel about yourself? And then now I'm with this person who's like, when I have the spiky spikes and he's
I'm gonna squeeze her. The roses with the thorns. I'm like, I'll get poked for one of these
the
roses.
spikes just kind of go away now. And it's like, and we're oming, and it's like,
Yeah, but I'm not doing it to fix her. I'm not doing it to save her. I'm literally just because I'm enjoying her.
this is relevant. Reflection is what I wrote down. Reflection. I can remember this fight inside of me where it just trying to extract from the outside, right? Trying to extract from him the reflection. I never would look at him and like what I saw. I never liked how I perceived that he perceived me. And it was all in my mind. I don't know what it was. I have no idea, but it was like just this battle against the mirror, this resistance to who I saw him reflecting back to me, and believing that he needed to do something about that. Like something was wrong with him because he couldn't see my value, he couldn't see my essence, he wasn't reflecting this, he wasn't affirming me in the way that I believed. And all of these assumptions about how I thought, because I'm the God of something I believed. But now that's the main thing. When you were speaking earlier and I was in the other room, I was like, man, what do I love most about the God man now is the reflection. It's a it's a pure reflection. And I'm not having to do anything. I'm not having to perform anything. He's not fake because I have scanned. I said, don't do anything for me unless it's authentic. Don't say a word to me unless it's authentic. Don't you dare. Because like I've come this far. I just want purity. I just want holiness. I'm willing to receive the struggle. And so it's absolutely mind blowing who we get to be and who I see that I am by looking at my reflection.
Come on.
We're fresh in this, so you're welcome. It's just beautiful.
That answer
So,
your question?
well, I think so. I mean, what I'm hearing back to what Mel had said about where I'm at and in my relationship now, you're both saying just sit and be with it. Like, don't try and use ChatGPT. Don't try and respond. Just be with it.
Right now, you need to care enough to not care. So, because your care right now, the care that you have right now is a hero care, which is playing God for her, which enables her, which reinforces her problems. So that's why you need to care enough to not care and just deal with, because your hero good man gets a hit anytime you make her happy. It is not your job to make her happy. That's God's job. And so you've got to unhook that button. And so you just got to sit there and so your one thing right now, care enough to not care, and how that shows up is you've got to be able to be okay when she's not okay. And the only way you're going to be okay when she's not okay is you get present and you go to God and you give her to God. Like you pray, like, God, she's yours. And she's in your hands. I trust you with her. I trust me with you. And I'm just going to be with you. And she might be like, she might be burning the house down. You know, like, if God to burn, it's got to burn, but I'm with God. And then after that, you've done that, you've unhooked that hero button, then he'll deploy you. Then he'll have you, how do I say it, pursue her.
But before that, may I?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Something real time that I'm seeing that I think would be great addition to everything you're saying is that what we were talking about, how I had no idea what was actually happening inside of you. I feel like that's what's shifting now, is that I'm getting insight into your world, what's going on in there. And I'm also, so my journey is like being a God woman, being a woman who's not going to take advantage of that, not going to use that to hurt him or hurt we, but getting that insight really does something.
Yeah, so that would be, thank you. That'd be something that I would say, if, going back, hindsight 2020, that would be the thing that I would add into it, is I would let her know everything in me right now wants to save your ass, wants to make you happy, wants to give you everything. Like my whole, it's the hardest thing I'm doing right now is to not do and just be while I'm watching you swirl. And I would communicate that more. That's what I would do differently now.
And maybe not real time, but maybe afterwards, when it's, we've worked through it and we come back together, that would be the time to share what was going on inside of the other person. Because to be the one filled with all of the energy, I'm just saying, and to look at a mirror that's just nothing is there, it's hard to get out of that one, because you start feeling abandoned and you start feeling all the things, and it just makes everything more intense, and it makes the fire want to just murder the mirror. But to know that there's actually a soul and a real life and a real experience and a humanness on the other side of that, Go ahead, Brad.
So what I'm hearing right now is just to practice just being completely present and not worry about anything else.
Yeah, and another thing that I would do now as well is I would let her know when she's hurting me, because I didn't do that either.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, I'm just staying centered, and it's actually hurting. I'm like, oh man, that's mean. Wow, and but not, I'm not that, well, not that she. Sorry, let me pull that back. Not
to get her to stop. Not to get her to stop.
No, not that she's hurting me, but that I'm hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not, I'm not blaming her. Like, she's saying things and doing things And I'm not blaming her for my hurt, but I am hurting as she's saying and doing these things. So I'm not putting the responsibility on her for hurting me. I'm hurting. It's these things that she's saying or doing are the catalyst for the hurt that's happening inside of me. And I would share with her where I am. I'm hurting right now, and I love you, and we're a team.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Got it. Thank you.
Because real time, he's so strong. He's so solid. He's so strong. And so to see no kind of emotion or anything, like, yeah, it just, it doesn't work.
All righty, Dragon, what's up, buddy?
Hey,
Not just
hello.
good to see you, but God to see you here. Love you, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate what you guys are doing, especially two of you. Again, your life story and everything that you talk about it's so much connected to how I feel. And I feel that I had found exactly what it can help me. So I think I shared the last time in Remember Experience, I had a lot of, like I would listen and I would zap out and I would have these downloads and images coming to my head and showing me like stuff out of my life or things like such a rapid pace that I couldn't keep up with it. So I shared that I have my son is almost 8. I have a beautiful boy with a woman. Her name is Erica, and I met her in 2013 through like a miracle. We both went to Bali through a common friend to do some work. I was doing massage and she was teaching yoga, and we fell in love. It was instant, and we were taking pictures the second day, and everybody was asking her, "Well, how long you guys have been married?" And it's like, we just met yesterday, and people knew before it happened. They all saw us together somehow. And we fell in love, and she moved from Florida to San Diego, and everything was beautiful the first year. And then she started pulling out.
Oh, you got a whole year. It's usually more about 6 months. That's pretty wild. You got a whole year of everything great.
It was like I hit a jackpot. I felt I stayed single I went through a divorce. I was married for 9 years, and it wasn't the right thing. It was a lot of growth came out of it, and I went through my training and my personal healing for 2 years, and then I said, okay, I'm finally ready to meet somebody. And I met her, and I said, this is it. This is going to be the last woman in my life. I'm totally fine with it. And after a year, I started going to hell, like unbelievable. And I was giving in more and more and more, and to the point where I started losing myself completely. And she tried everything to prove that she's not worthy. And the more she tried, the more I tried to prove her that she's wrong. And the more I tried, the more she would pull away and do more stupid stuff, like unbelievable. She would even come to my face and say, I'm going to hit you. And I said, okay, go hit me. Let's see what's going to happen. I mean, she can't hit me really hard first. I'm pretty good with reflexes. What you going to do? You going to really hit me? As soon as I said that, she backed off and started crying. It's like, how can you believe that I would do that? Well, it's like, you came like so determined. So it was like, where do you go? And that didn't work. So she wanted to run away from places. She couldn't settle in. She comes from a military father, a mother that was bipolar, that used her against the father. She was molested when she was sexually molested when she was a child. Terrible childhood, but an incredible, incredible woman with so many gifts. And I tried to pull the stuff out for her, the beauty, but I got to the point to realize that she does not see it. So no matter how much I try, I'm only losing myself in it. And after the second year, we got engaged. And after the second year, she she wanted to travel, to buy an RV, and I couldn't get it out of her head. So she bought an RV, and as soon as she got it, 2 weeks later, we found out she's pregnant. And to talk about how she got pregnant, my mother passed from cancer, and Claudio's older brother passed from cancer kind of in the same time. So Claudio was skiing in Utah. He was a ski instructor, and she bought a ticket. She actually wanted to break up with me, wrote me a letter, but she couldn't give it to me because my mother passed. So she said, I couldn't do that to you. And then instead, she comes, she buys a ticket for me to go skiing, see Claudio, so we can kind of go through whatever our losses were. That was her idea. And she buys a ticket for herself too. like, if you want to break up with me, why didn't you send me skiing and you stay home and you can even move out while I'm gone? No, she comes out with me and we stay with Claudio. And then one night she jumps on me and then she gets pregnant. And we come back, she buys an RV, and I try to convince her, it's like, we can't do this. What do you mean? It's like, we don't have money to travel around the places and stuff. No, she wants RV. So God says, okay, I'll give you the RV, but then I'll show you my plan. So 2 weeks later, she got an RV. We found out she's pregnant. And now we went with the RV a few times. She realized, okay, this is not the way to go. We have to have a settled home where we can give birth. Our son was born. She had a really hard time with the pregnancy. She couldn't deliver. They had to induce her. She had the high blood pressure. Anyway, our son is healthy, very beautiful. Everything was okay. But then it all started going to hell. So after he was 2 years old, she moved out. She says, I need to have some space. I need to be somewhere. So he was with me 3 weeks, 3 days and a half, and 3 days and a half with her. And it was horrible for me because family is very important to me. And it was horrible to watch him, how he suffered when I was taking away from her. And I couldn't understand why she would do that. But she said, I need some space. So after a year, she says, I want to come back in the house. And I said, well, why do you want to come back? Is it for me, for us, or for our son? And she says, no, I want to be loved. I needed some time for myself. I need to figure out who I was. So she moves back after about 6 months, like you said, again. So she runs again, moves to another place with another crazy friend of hers that she defended her. They moved to a farmhouse. They have chicken. They're doing farming. They're all kinds of stuff. And then after that, they had to move from there again. She split with this girl. I mean, they were nothing. They were just roommates. But this girl was a complete mess. And finally, she realized that she cannot save her because she was trying to save her. And then I actually helped her move again the second time. She moved somewhere else. And she's going back and forth to the point where I had to bury that here. And I said, I'm done. And that's when I came to that remember experience. And when you told me about, you shared about, holding your hands underneath the chair, it's like, I literally had to do that. It's like, I am not doing this. She's like, oh, you don't have to do anything for me. You're not that space anymore. But she's like grasping to get me back in the game. She got me multiple times. And this time I said, no, I'm not going to do this. I can't do it. And I am to the point where I either have to let go fully or I'm not sure what to do, but it's not working anymore for me. I'm being pulled constantly into that warm hole where I drown with her. She's trying to drown herself and then I get drowned. As soon as I save her back, I bring her to the shore, she jumps back in the water. And it's like, it's sick. Now she's done a lot of work. She helps a lot of people. She's a healer herself and she does incredible work. But when it comes to her, it's like, okay, why is she trying to mirror me? What I see into that? Because I am a magnet for women that have been abused. And I myself, I haven't been abused sexually. I've been abused mentally, emotionally. I had processed that. I have healed. I forgave my mom and my parents, whatever they did. I know there was their stuff. But it's like, I am attracting this kind of a women. They're extremely capable and beautiful, but they have been abandoned. So I'm not sure where to go from here.
So where the key for you right now, and this is actually for all the hero men out there, you got to face your biggest fear. And as the hero would never in a million years guess what their biggest fear is. They have no idea what their biggest fear is. They think a hero thinks his biggest fear is to fail the victim, but that's not their biggest fear. Their biggest fear, they don't even have a box for. Their biggest fear is to be the villain. So you need to face that fear because what's keeping you dancing like a little dancing monkey, and you can't prove love. Repeat after me. I cannot prove love.
I cannot prove love.
Every time I try to prove love,
I
reinforce the illusion. That it's missing.
That is missing.
Yeah. So what?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And how it's happening is you've got judgment on a villain, and But what the victim will do to get you to dance like a little dancing monkey is will push your button, your fear of being a villain card like button, and will make you feel like a villain for not saving her. And so but if you will release your judgment on being a villain, then you'll be free and you'll be off the triad, and then you can actually be present with her. But how we do anything is how we do everything. The world is just our mirror, and I can see, with what happened recently with Claudio, I could see it's tugging at you, like the world your mirror is trying to show you're a villain. You did this, but that's just.
I mean, his friends, they came to me. You sent him to die. You guys play with the God. This is what happens. You kill him. You send him over there. I mean, just unbelievable. They kill him. They pulled his organs out. One guy made stories and stories and stories. It's like, you know what? I sent him there because I believe that there's something in there. And he bought himself a ticket. He did it himself. I'm like, I'm not responsible for anybody. I tried to help him in any possible way to get him back.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That your mirror is showing you what's going on inside of you, and you need to look in that mirror and you need to feel what it like. You got to find all the villain in you. Now, the villain doesn't exist, but it does. Like, you've actually, every time you've helped somebody in your entire past, you've actually been hurting them. Like, I was killing my mom. I was participating in her death.
That. Yeah.
But you got to feel it. You've got to feel it, and then you've got to repent. And then once you feel it and repent, then you're free, and your character can be restored as a God man. But your judgment on the villain is making you be a villain, an unconscious villain. You're being used by fear to perpetuate darkness. So you've got to transcend all that, and you've got to feel it fully. Everything that's coming at you, feel it, and then transcend it, lay it down, and then let the God man rise, because it's all in God's hands. And you don't know that yet. Your hero still doesn't know it's all in God's hands. It's still like, no, I could do more. I should have done more. I could have done more. And that is Satan lying, right? And but you've got to feel Satan's lying to you, because there's still something in you that you're disconnected from, and you got to feel it fully, bring it all out, and then you're going to get free on the other side. Go ahead.
Oh, I want you to be an asshole.
No, you've got to feel that you already are. You've been an asshole. You've been a villain. You have to own that you've been a villain. You've got to look that right now. Like, I've been a freaking villain. And like, anytime you ever saw someone as a victim and you tried to help them, you were the villain. You were playing God. You weren't just a villain. You were the biggest villain, because you were playing God. Anytime you did that, anytime you saw somebody as a victim and you thought you could save them, you were playing God. You were Antichrist. You were the biggest villain. And you've got to see that and own the consequences of that. Like, people's blood are on your hand. The ones that you tried to save. If it wasn't somebody you weren't trying to save, it's only the ones that you saw as victims and you tried to save, their blood is on your hands, because you played God. And so you got to own that completely and repent, feel it, actually see the consequence. Like, I did that. I mean, they're still responsible. They did it, and they used you to do it, but you played the part of every time you played the part of hero, you were actually the villain. You were actually Antichrist. You were playing Messiah. So own that, feel that, repent of it, lay it down like, I'm not God, and I'm not playing that role anymore. I'm not a savior. I'm a leader, and leaders go first. So I'm going to God, and I'm going to show everybody else. You want saved? You want help? Go to God, and then we'll go from there. You'll fight. Hey, did you go to God? And if they went to God, okay, great. You're with God. All right, cool. Now we're both with God right now. So let's see what we're going to co-create as members of God.
Okay. So one more thing is I do healing work, and I work with a lot of people. So how do I do my work but surrender it all to God and don't become an interference?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to. It's all glory to God. You've got to say, you have never healed anyone ever. You are not a healer. You are a conduit for healing to come through. And that's what you've got to lay all that down. All glory to God, like every single teeny time. You cannot get drunk on the wine. Don't take a single hit. God gives you gifts, and his gifts are without repentance. So meaning he's not going to take them back. So if he gives you gifts that you can actually you give to people, because we're meant to serve people. We're meant to please God by serving people. How we please God is by serving people, but not if we take the glory. So he gives us the gifts, but if you use that gift to get significance, to get a hit, to feel good about yourself, then you got to repent for all that, and you lay it down like, I'm
I
not
don't
doing
need that.
anything.
He transcended that. I don't need that. I am doing it just because that I believe that that's my my purpose to serve God and to help people, because I know how it's
Yeah, but you got to get
uh,
nuanced. I mean, you got to dial
yeah.
in any hit that you ever get. Anytime you get any feel good on helping somebody, and any degree that you ever see someone else as a victim, like you're not helping them. They're so just see, anytime they come to you, they're not coming to you. They're going to God, and then God is using you as, as a conduit, but it's not you. You're just a vessel. You're an empty vessel. You are humbled, and just stay humble, knowing that you don't have any gifts, that God's got gifts that he's given to you, and you're just stewarding them, but it's all glory. You've got to get that, like, find it every little ounce of anything where you take any credit whatsoever, and like really get into the emotion, and it's all of your feelings. Find your feelings, because again, your mirror's coming at you right now, trying to show you what the emotions that are in you that have been packed and stacked. So you got to get to those, and let those all come up, all the fears, all the feelings, because wherever you've got a fear of being a villain, you've got a desire to be a hero. Oh, let's do a release for everybody right now. So we'll let go of the fear of being bad, fear of being a villain, desire to be good. I don't know exactly what we're gonna say, but let's just do a release right now and then see what happens. So let's all close our eyes, take a deep breath in, let it all go, and repeat after me. I have the power of a yielded mind.
I have the power of a yielded mind.
Nothing in this universe can stop the power of a yielded mind.
Nothing in this universe can stop the power of a yielded mind.
I have the power of a submitted mind.
I have the power of a submitted mind.
Nothing in this universe can stop the power of a submitted mind.
Nothing in this universe can stop the power of a submitted mind.
I have the power of a humble mind.
I have the power of a humbled mind.
Nothing in the universe can stop the power of a humbled mind.
Nothing in the universe can stop the power of a humbled mind.
I have a surrendered mind.
I have a surrendered mind.
Nothing in this universe can stop the power of a surrendered mind.
Nothing in this universe can stop the power of a surrendered mind.
I release my resistance of being bad.
I release my resistance of being bad.
I release my resistance of being evil.
I release my resistance of being evil.
I release my resistance of being judged.
I release my resistance of being judged.
I release my resistance of being seen as the villain.
I release my resistance of being seen as the villain.
I release my fear of being seen as the villain.
I release my fear of being seen as the villain.
I release my fear of being seen as the villain.
I release my fear of being seen as the villain.
I release my fear of being seen as the villain.
I release my fear of being seen as the villain.
I release my fear of being seen as the villain.
I release my fear of being seen as the villain.
I release my hate of being seen as the villain.
I release my hate of being seen as the villain.
I release my hate of being seen as the villain.
I release my hate of being seen as the villain.
I release my hate of being seen as the villain.
I release my hate of being seen as the villain.
I release my hate of being seen as the villain.
I release my hate of being seen as the villain.
I release my terror of being seen as the villain.
I release my terror of being seen as the villain.
I release my terror of being responsible for people's pain.
I release my terror for being responsible for people's pain.
I release my terror of being responsible for people's suffering.
I release my terror of being responsible for people's suffering.
I release my terror of being responsible for people's suffering.
I release my terror of being responsible for people's suffering.
I release my desire to be the good guy.
I release my desire to be the good guy.
I release my desire to be seen as the good guy.
I release my desire to be seen as the good guy.
I release my desire to be the good guy.
I release my desire to be the good guy.
I release my desire to help people.
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 I release my desire to make people happy.
I release my desire to make people happy.
I release my desire to be a good guy.
I release my desire to be a good guy.
I accept I'm a child of God and always have been.
I accept I am a child of God and always have been.
I accept I'm a child of God and always have been.
I accept I'm a child of God and always have been.
I accept I'm protected and provided for by God and always have been.
Accept I am protected and provided for and always have been.
I accept I'm protected and provided for and always have been.
Accept I am protected and provided for and always have been.
I accept I'm a child of God and always have been.
Accept I am a child of God and always have been.
I accept everyone or everyone else are children of God and always have been.
I accept everyone else as a child of God and always has been.
I accept everyone else is protected and provided for by God and always have been.
Accept everyone else is protected and provided for and always has been.
Accept everyone else is protected and provided for and always have been.
Accept everyone else is protected and provided for and always has been.
Accept we are all children of God and always have been.
Except we are all children of God and always have been.
Except we are protected and provided for and always have been.
Except we are protected and provided for and always have been.
Except I'm a God man and always have been.
Except I'm a God man and always have been.
Except my brothers and sisters are all God men and women and always have been.
Except my brothers and sisters are all God men and women and always have been.
We are God men and God women and always have been.
We are God men and God women and always have been.
We are eternal beings and always have been.
We are eternal beings and always have been.
I have seeked first the kingdom.
I have seeked first the kingdom.
I'm in the kingdom now.
I'm in the kingdom now.
I've remembered where I am.
I've remembered where I am.
I've remembered who I am.
I've remembered who I am.
I've remembered who we are.
I've remembered who we are.
Because I've remembered who he is.
Because I've remembered who he is.
And I am a member of him.
Member of him.
On earth as he is in heaven.
As he is in heaven.
And so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Amen.
All right. That ought to do something. So y'all be open. You don't know if you got the lesson until you take the test. Over the next 24, 48 hours, be present, be conscious, because that release we just did there, that's going to show up somehow in the physical, and you're going to pass whatever the test is. You're not going to know what it's going to look like. God's plans always never make sense, but there's going to be a moment where you're going to make a decision as a God man, because that's who you are. You always have been in eternity. You just started to remember eternity because you've been perceiving yourself as a time-based being. So you're going to come from eternal decision over the next 24 to 48 hours to faith without works is dead. So there's going to be an action that happens. So go ahead, drag on, and then we'll end with whatever is coming up.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, it's right on.
You're welcome, buddy. All right. Go team. All right. That is officially the end. We're 20 minutes over today, but that's the fish. But we're eternal beings, y'all. So that's officially the end of day 4. We got one more day, y'all. So great job, everybody. Give yourselves a big round of applause, big pat on the back. Thank you all for being here. Always remember that who you are makes a difference. The world is a much better place because you exist. Thank you for being you. Thank God for you. Thank God for us. Go team. We'll see you all tomorrow. Do your homework. Bye, everybody.